Small graves. I live in a town, or grew up in a town that very old. It was really old from the 1800s or something. And it had their own little cemetery. It was a very small town at that time. Now it's 100,000. But these little towns have their own little plots of land where it's the villages, people are buried there. And you go back to there and you look at these things, and they're old graveyards. And if you go look in other places around, you find out at farmers' fields. This was a farm country. They buried their family on the family plot. And when you put up a housing division, you have to remember that is a former farmland, and it is very likely you will find gravestones on it. The area that I grew up in has a tollway going through it, and took out, or they buried a couple farmers' family graveyards. Yeah, did they remove the stuff? No, because the children, the parents died or the grandparents died, and they didn't care. If they would, it would have cost a lot of money to remove the grave. So they just basically built a tollway over it. And you will find out that many towns that grew up have these small little cemeteries that are filling up. Local people are still buried next to their loved ones in the cemeteries. Do you have how old is your town, and where's your cemetery? Is it there? In my area, there's a couple very large cemeteries. So people are either dropped in the ground or they're in coffins above the ground. Yeah, but if the ethnic or religious one, the non-religious people can get buried there too. That just costs you a little bit more money. Or you're cremated. Do they have a facility where it's cremated? No, but they do have a few morticians that offer the services of being cremated on site. Ooh, which is a lot cheaper than being dropped in the ground. Yes, but these small graveyards, and I've done when I was looking for locations for movie companies. I got around quite a bit, and I knew places where you can off the way to find a waterfall here, or a nice clean stream there, or some nice background of a little cave area, or some woodland. And it as a location looker, I found places for them to, and the guy said, "Hey, can I find an old-fashioned cemetery?" I said, "Which town do you want to do it in?" Well, what kind of graveyards are there? And I opened my book of cemeteries. You've got the bigger ones, you got the religious ones, and you got the really bigger ones. And what's in there? How about near a crypt? How about with these old standing that thing? And so, well, how do we get into that place? Well, you go to the caretaker and ask him, how much is it going to cost for me to shoot that location? Dead silence. $1,000? Got it. Shake of a hand. And they're out there doing their movie crew. They're banding up there. And that thing. I shot at one of my early times in school. Chris Bird had his great big grave thing. And it was a commercial. And I was there. I was one of the grips there. And we set it up, lighting and the whole thing. And we needed a little girl. Little girl to cry. So he had two teddy bears looking the same, right? I know. You already know what's going to happen. But oh yeah, she got her crying. But she did get a dry teddy bear out of it. Yes, yes, you really know if you're into filmmaking how things are done. How many corners you have to cut. How you have to bring your own generator. You know, see a bunch of guys come running around with small generators, little Honda generators. That's not a commercial, Blake, but little Honda generators and lights. Then you have to go in the middle of somewhere like a forest and add extra light. And you know right now that very likely the bulb is going to blow. I mean, you're talking 1K, but you have to put in extra light. So, that thing. As I said, location looking. Can you find a house that's old with antiques in it? Can we use it for one day? You tell the owner, I'm going to pay for your electricity for the rest of the month. Okay. And something on the side. Something on the side. And you go in there, you do your filming, like a front porch or a back porch or the right tree that happens to be in the yard. You shoot it. You basically pay them $1,000, and you just got a multi-million-dollar shot. You're not going to do it in a studio, as director Robert Edmonds said. He would do is a cameraman, a sound man, and the main actors would go to a location and shoot it, sometimes with permission, sometimes without permission, quick and dirty, and do it. And graveyards, he said, graveyards with great backdrops. You drive in there, you get flowers, you put them on a grave, you shoot all the stuff, and you leave. And some dead person now has a pile of flowers from non-relatives. Hey, I like shooting in small graveyards because you're not going to get bothered by people. Very few people show up at a graveyard. Relatives, because everybody in the graveyard has already been dead for a mighty long time. You got these old stones, and that's a good location. But that's what I like about cemeteries.